Hello friends, welcome you all to another video, and today we are going to learn about realism. And you can see on your screen that it is the term which you can see it is from britannica.com or realism are the website. And you can see here the definition of realism in the that yellow background. But I'm going to tell you about the realism in literary criticism. So what I'm going to tell you here, it will be different what you can see on your screen. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. But before starting, I just want to read out what is written in the yellow background so you can understand what is realism is. So realism in the arts, the accurate, detailed, unembellished depiction of nature or of contemporary life. Realism rejects imaginative idealization in favor of close observation of outward appearances. As such, realism in its broad sense has comprised many artistic currents in different civilizations. Okay, so that is the what the definition according to Britannica you can see here. But now what is realism? So realism is actually it is what is the real life, the accurate or the that the real life, that is a realistic life, that is a realism. Okay, so realism in literature or in literary criticism applied for two diverse ways. Okay, number one, by the literary critic, by okay, realism is applied by literary critics in two diverse way. Number one, to identify a moment in the writing of novels during the 19th century that included Horar de Balzac in France, George Eliot in England, and William Lee Dean Howells in America. Okay, so these novels are called as a realistic novel. And the second way to apply realism is to designate a recurrent mode in various areas and literary forms of representing human life and experiences in literature. So these are the two things in literary criticism the word realism or the term realism is used. The first, to identify the movement in writing of novel, that is realistic novel. Okay, and here is Balzac is from Germany, George Eliot is from English literature, and Howells is from American literature. And the second one is the recurrent mode, and which is various eras and literary form representing human life and experiences in literature as it is. So it is called as a in this way, the two way the realism is used in literary criticism. Let's start talk about the realistic fiction. I hope that you understood what is the realism. So let's talk about the realistic fiction. Actually it opposed, as you can see on the dictionary also, realism reject imaginative idealization. It means that realism opposed to romantic fiction, or realistic fiction is often opposed to romantic fiction. The romance, what is romance? What is romanticism? The romance is said to present life as we would have it be. We ever thought that my life should be like that, my life should be more adventurous, my if I'm leading adventurous life, so I can say that my life should be a very calm, very peaceful life, so like that. So what we wanted to deal with our life, what we wanted to live our life, that is the imagination, or that is the romance. Okay, so romance is more picturesque, fantastic, adventurous, or heroic than actuality. But the other hand, realism is the other hand is said to represent life as it really is. Means whatever the life is going on, that is the representation of the real life, that is called as a realism. The distinction in terms solely of subject where people in real life, but their biographies demonstrate that truth can be stranger than literary realism. It is more useful to identify realism in terms of that intended effect on the reader. Realistic fiction is written to give the effect that it represents life and the social world as it seems to the common reader. evoking the sense that its characters might in fact exist and that such things might well happen. To achieve such effects, the novelist we identify as realistic may or may not be selective in subject matter, although most of them prefer the commonplace and the everyday represented in minute detail or rarer aspects of life, but they must render their materials in ways that make them seem to their readers the very stuff of ordinary experience. For example, Daniel Defoe in the early 18th century dealt with the extraordinary adventures of shipwrecked mariner named Robinson Crusoe and with the extraordinary misadventures of a woman named Moll Flanders. But he made his novel seem to readers a mirror held up to reality by his reportier manner of rendering all the events, whether ordinary or extraordinary, in the same circumstantial matter of fact and seemingly unselective way. Both the fictions of Franz Kafka and the present day novels of magic realism by Salman Rushdie achieve their effects in larger part by exploiting a realistic manner and rendering events that the techniques of rendering a realist novel depend on their accordance with literary convention and the codes which the reader has learned to interpret or naturalize in a way that makes the term seem reflective of everyday reality. Some theories draw the conclusion that since all literary representations are constituted by arbitrary convention, there is no valid ground for holding any one kind of fiction to be more realistic than any other. It is a matter of common experience, however, that some novels in fact produce on the reader the effect of representing the ordinary course of events. Skepticism about the possibility of fictional realism is not an empirical doctrine which is based on the widespread experience of readers of literature, but a metaphysical doctrine that denies the existence of any objective reality that is independent of altering human convention and cultural formulation. So, hey guys, I hope that you understood the term realism. Notes will be uploaded very soon on our Google Classroom. So, thank you for watching, and we will see in the next lecture naturalism. So thank you for watching. See you in the next lecture.